Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Goal Diaries and welcome back to the most beautiful fall day. This has actually been an outstanding weekend. Um, we've had solid rain here for the past 2 weeks and the rain ended about 4 or 5 days ago, but it hasn't been nice. And yesterday and today it has been absolutely stunning. 75 degrees, gorgeous sun, absolutely beautiful. Perfect fall day. So I spent all day yesterday starting to put the garden to bed, ripping out some plants. Today I spent some time, I broke a lot of my nails. I spent some time putting some bulbs in the ground for the spring. But today we are now in the kitchen and we are going to start cooking our Sunday reset meals again. So what I like to do, and I kind of get off of it in the summertime, just because in the summertime I cook fresher. I have a lot more fresh vegetables coming in. I'm all about throwing things on the grill last minute. Summertime I do things differently, but now that we're in fall and headed into winter, I like to do Sunday like prep days. So what I like to do is I like to make my breakfast for the week. I like to make a nice like Sunday dinner. And then I like to have leftovers on hand for both work lunches for the week. And then I like to have meals so that when I come home during the week after a long day of work, I'm not trying to figure out like what I'm making. I can kind of pull together something I already have and do a lot of like heating up during the week. So today it's 1:47 and we are going to hopefully get this done in an hour and a half. We have a lot on our agenda, but I think we've planned it well so that it's not going to take us too long. So my work lunches we are going to do bacon, egg and cheese breakfast biscuits. So I'm going to make the biscuits from scratch. Then we have the eggs, the cheese, and the bacon we have to cook. So that's the first thing we're doing. Then we are making for work lunches, we're making meatloaf and sweet potato casserole. I'm hungry for meatloaf and I thought that'd be delicious for a work lunch. And then for the dinners for the week, I'm thinking chicken, waffles, and mashed potatoes. So the chicken, I have already these fried chicken breasts that my local butcher does. He breads them and you can fry them or you can bake them. I'm just going to bake them. But I really like a nice crispy piece of chicken on a waffle. So what we're going to do for the prep is we're going to make the waffles, we're going to make the mashed potatoes, and we're going to make the gravy. And then all I have to do during the week is throw that chicken in the oven, and that's a meal ready to go. For tonight's dinner, we are going to have a delicious pork chop with a pecan apple sort of sauce that I bought from Terrapin Farms that I really like. And I'm going to make cheddar grits to go with that. And then I just went to Sam's, which kind of inspired this whole meal. And Sam's had a salad kit. And I like salad kits. I have salad grown in the garden. But every now and then, a salad kit is just so fun. This is a sweet onion apple. So it's spring mix, dried apples, dried cranberries, and diced pecans. And then it comes with a sweet onion vinaigrette. So I think that with the pork chop, with this like pecany pork chop and cheddar grit, I think is going to be the perfect Sunday supper. So we have a lot of work to do, but we're going to kind of prioritize it well, I think. I have a pot on the stove right now with boiling water I'm going to use for the sweet potatoes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of have one pot going. I'm going to put the sweet potatoes in the pot when that water is boiling, cook them the whole way through, bring that out, reset the pot with hot water for the mashed potatoes. I'm going to cycle it through that way. I have more burners on my stove, but I'm trying to also keep the heat down a little bit. And we have time. So first things first, I want to get things in the oven. So I don't have the oven on yet, but I want to go ahead and get this made and shaped. We're making our meatloaf. So I pulled out a pound of hamburger from the freezer. We're going to go ahead. I pulled it out about 2 or 3 hours ago, and if you don't know it, and I don't know why this works, frozen meat in cold water thaws it really quickly. So I'm going to get the meatloaf made and shaped, and then we'll do the biscuits and the bacon, and we'll put it all in the oven at the same time. So to my hamburger mixture, and then you can do whatever recipe you like. If you have your own meatloaf recipe you really like, I have one. I'm just kind of going with the flow. I'm going as my heart desires. I added 1 egg. I decided for a little bit of spice, I'm going to add some pepper jack cheese. I thought that would be pretty yummy. I don't want it super cheesy, but I thought the spice of the pepper jack would lend itself really well into this meatloaf. So let's just start there. I'll put that back in its little container. We're going to pause here just for time's sake because my water is boiling. So let me get my sweet potatoes and wash them and throw some sweet potatoes in there. That one fell. Okay, I'm gonna set that there for now. Should have got a bigger pot. I'll let those 2 cook and then I'll add the next one in. Now we're gonna come down here because I want my brown sugar, which is out on this end of the counter. I'm gonna add, just add a ketchup. I'm add a good honkin' bit of ketchup. Need to go get some more downstairs. And I'm gonna add, and I just eyeball this. I'm super bad at measuring. A little bit of brown sugar. We definitely want some breadcrumbs to be a binder. And I need to add my breadcrumbs to my container. I just bought these. There we go. Okay. We'll start there. A little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of onion powder. My onion powder is green because I use the onion tops and I dehydrated that for my garlic powder. A nice squirt of Dijon mustard. Worcestershire, I love Worcestershire, so I always add a good amount of Worcestershire. And then a healthy dose of salt and pepper. That was pepper, and there is my salt. Now let's get it all mixed up. So you can use like a bread loaf pan to make your meatloaf, absolutely. The problem that I've seen with that, though, is then your grease kind of collects at the bottom and your meatloaf doesn't stick together. So when I make meatloaf, I prefer the little frozen bit right here we're trying to break up. When I make meatloaf, I prefer to make it on a baking sheet and that can kind of drain off the grease. Okay. I'm going to make these into some small individual meatloaves. Make these into like personal size meatloaves. And you can add peppers and onions and bacon to your meatloaf if you wanted to. But I am content just like this. And then when we bake it, I'm going to let it bake fully. And then I'm going to add, probably 15 minutes at the end, I'm going to add a ketchup brown sugar glaze for the top of it. I think that's going to be really, really good. So you want to make sure they're nice and packed together. Okay. Quick and easy meat loaves down. Again, I'm going to cook them, and then I'm going to add my sauce. In this step, you could do so much more if you wanted. You could add, I've seen people like add like pieces of cheese in here to make like a cheesy meatloaf. You could wrap them in bacon. You can do so much at this step if you really wanted to. I am more of a simplistic kind of gal, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to move these to the side, and I'm going to turn my oven on now. And now we are going to do our biscuits. So when I do these big cooking days, I like to clean as I go. However, right now, I have so much stuff that needs to go in the oven. I want to get the oven going. I want everything in the oven at the same time. And then I'll take a quick break, get everything else clean, and then we'll move on to the next project. So, next project at this point is the biscuits. And these biscuits are my go-to biscuit recipe. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. And this recipe makes 6 biscuits. So I like to make it in my food processor because it just makes life so much easier. So we start with 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. And I just dropped some salt on the floor right after vacuuming. So that is annoying. Okay. Toss that. Okay, now I need slowly. This is actually not my favorite recipe. I realize now that I'm making a different recipe. I thought this was my favorite one, and it's not. So we're going to do it the same way we always do, which what I mean by that is we're going to lament the dough in order to get it to be nice and fluffy. So we'll see how this goes, but I don't know what the difference is. This recipe calls for half and half, and mine only calls for regular milk. So we are just going to move forward with regular milk. So I'm going to turn this on and slowly add in my milk. We're going to do things differently this time. We're going to make a pepper jack burger or a pepper jack biscuit, and I think that's going to be really good with eggs and bacon. So put the milk in there. Now I'm going to shred in my butter, about 8 tablespoons of ice cold butter. Okay. And then we're going to shred in pepper jack cheese, because how can that be bad? So shred in a good amount of pepper jack cheese. That can't be bad, right? That can only mean good things. A little bit of spice with our bacon and eggs. Sounds phenomenal. Okay, mix that up. It's a whole bunch of different crumbles. Now it just needs a little bit of persuasion to come together. So let me clean up my workspace and get a nice workspace. Just keep running my hands under water to make my hands wet. You don't want to make your dough too wet. You don't want to work it too much. We want to get it kind of bound together. And sometimes it just takes a little persuasion. And get a little bit more water. Now for the lamenten, let's get it into a nice solid ball. I like to work quickly because you don't want your dough to get too warm. Spread it out. Make like a rectangle. And then you fold. Fold in one half, fold in the other half, push it down, rotate. Do that like about 3 times. Spread it out, turn. And this is building layers into your dough. And this is what gives your biscuits a good rise. Okay, that was the 3rd fold and turn. Now I'm going to get them pressed out for cutting. And so you can see here how I have a layer there. And when I cut it, got my pan wet. And when I cut it, you can see all the layers. There's maybe a better angle. All the layers in the dough. Here we go. They look a little weird, but they'll work. They'll work. One's a little off. I'm going to spread them back out there, give them room to move. And the next step is we're going to get our bacon on a pan. We're going to put our bacon in the oven too. And then we're going to be fancy. I'm going to go for a spicy sweet bacon. So I have a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of sriracha, and I'm just going to kind of paint the bacon with this mixture. I think that's going to give it a really nice spice, sweetness. I think it's going to add well with our biscuits. Now everything is ready to go in the oven. Started with my meatloaf, my biscuits, and my bacon. Okay, so my oven's at about 375. So I'm going to start with about 12 minutes for the biscuits. And we'll check on the biscuits in about 12 minutes. But before we move on to the next step, I want to clean up this kitchen. I think we started at 147. It is 2:17 right now. So we are a half hour in, and we have the meatloaves done. We have the biscuits done, and we have the bacon in the oven. So we're off to a very good start. Okay, it's been 10 minutes since I left you. I know that because the biscuits are going to ding in 2 minutes. But we're going to move on to our waffles. And if you are new to my channel, waffles are my favorite thing. I don't know why I get so excited for waffles, but I get so excited for waffles. I don't have them all the time. They are like a treat. They are such a fun treat. So we're going to be doing, while I have the waffle maker out, I have the recipe and we're doing it. We're going to double, if not triple. I'm going to start with doubling. We're going to double this recipe. So I checked on them. They're not ready. I bumped them up for another 5 minutes, but that oven smells delicious. My biscuits might come out Tastes a little bit like meatloaf, but it's gonna be okay. Okay, so I just plugged in my waffle maker. My parents got me this waffle maker for Christmas 2 years ago, and it is like my favorite thing in the universe. I do like a happy dance. You probably see it. I'm gonna try to refrain, but we'll see. But waffles are my favorite thing. So we're gonna start with 2.5 cups of flour, and I'm doubling the recipe. Well, yeah, 2.5 cups of flour. I'm gonna give you the ingredients for one batch, and then I'm just gonna do it twice. I'm doubling the recipe because waffles freeze fantastically. They freeze great. So you can pull them out for a quick and easy breakfast anytime. There's 2.5, and then I'm going to do it again. They can cook from frozen in the microwave in 1 minute, and they taste exactly like the day that you made them. So you can use them for breakfast. You could do this like chicken and waffles thing we're doing. It would make it so much easier. If you already had the waffles frozen, maybe you stop and you get, I lost track of what I was at. I think this is 2. Maybe you stop and you pick up chicken tenders from your local restaurant that you really like, and then you already have the waffles, and it's a great, quick, and easy meal. So the options are really endless. I love to do these too with, I have apple, and I might do this soon. I have apple pie filling downstairs with some vanilla ice cream and a waffle, and then dip the waffle in some cinnamon or like butter and then cinnamon. Wouldn't that be delicious? I might do that. Okay, then I need 1/4 cup of sugar. So, because I'm doubling it, 1/2 cup of sugar. I wish I had thought this through because I would have loved to do a sourdough discard waffle. I've done that in the past every time I've made waffles, and it's delicious. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. 2 cups of milk. 2 eggs. 1/2 cup of melted butter. And then a nice dash of vanilla. Okay, now mix this up. I'm gonna spray my waffle iron. And this is just extra virgin olive oil, or you could get like melted butter in your spray. Now I'm gonna dump my waffle. I always try to be careful to not overfill it. A little bit more over here. And then, okay. So excited. It's so excited. We're about done. That one's not quite. This one is. Of course, the big guy. Should have cut him, but oh well. That guy's done. I'm going to get him out. I'm going to get that guy in. I'm going to add some more water. So because we put that brown sugar glaze, if the bacon looks a little burnt, because that brown sugar glaze definitely burned. Not burned, but burned. But I think that's going to taste really, really good. So I'm going to let them cool. My biscuits are not quite done yet. I love waffles. think doubling the batch is going to make a lot of waffles. So we might be here a while. I'll catch you on the flip side. Here we are 1 hour in, and we have, that's still hot. I use my hot pads. Our biscuits done. Now I didn't get as golden as I wanted them to, and I realized that's because my oven is too low. Because I have it at 375 for the meatloaf. I would have put these at 425 for biscuits. And I forgot to, they've been out for probably about 5 minutes. You want to take them off the pan immediately, or else they'll stick and then they'll fall apart when you want to take them out. But look at the layering. That's from Lamentation. I'm saying that word wrong now. Lamented. And so what I think I need to do is, you can see, like, that's beautiful. It definitely goes lopsided. I think I need to flip my biscuits halfway through their cooking process. That's my Monster Jumbo biscuit. But we have 5 biscuits. They look delicious. They're going to taste delicious. We're almost done with those. Our bacon is all done. This bacon is, I'm really want to eat all of it. It's so good. Oh my god. The sweetness of the brown sugar paired with a little bit of heat from the sriracha. You could use sriracha, you could use hot sauce, you could use just chili powder. Well, yeah, that's how we're going to make all of our bacon, I think, from here on out. That is absolutely delicious. I need to wash it down, because if not, I'll eat the whole plate of bacon right now. That's so good. And then we have our waffles, and I have been eating the waffles. The waffles are really good too. So that double batch did 4 rounds of 4 rounds of waffles, including this, like, the last round was monstrous. 4 rounds. So I'm going to leave 4 waffles out for my chicken and waffle dinner. The rest I'm going to individually plastic wrap and put in the freezer. So I have a lot of waffles for the freezer. And then I already have, I need a bigger kitchen. I already have everything cleaned up. So everything we've done at this point is clean. And we're moving on to the rest of our meal. So our next part is going to be the brown sugar glaze. So I just put about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and I emptied the ketchup into this. I'm going to stir this around. You can use barbecue sauce. You can use mustard. You can use whatever your little heart desires. Cheese. Whatever your little heart desires. So before we move on, I got that done. Let me check on our meatloaves and see where we are with the meatloaf. Aren't they stunning? So they've been in probably about half an hour right now. Now I know a big meatloaf takes about 1 hour 15. So it makes sense that these are shorter. So now I'm going to add my ketchup and brown sugar glaze. And I'm going to put it back in for about 10 minutes. Okay. My sweet potatoes are done. I took the boiling water because it had peels and stuff in it, and I dumped it on some weeds. So hot water on weeds is good. It gets rid of weeds. So I'm going to fill this up again, and I'm going to get my white potatoes in here for my mashed potatoes. I wish I had done them at the same time, but we didn't. Now we're going to make a really quick and easy just mashed sweet potato. A lot of the skins came off in the water. So add about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm going to add a hunk of butter and get that stirred in there. Now, if you wanted, you could puree these sweet potatoes, and put them in a casserole dish and do like a brown sugar crumble on top, butter, brown sugar, cinnamon. If you want to add marshmallows, you could add marshmallows, or you could add pecans or walnuts, and you could put it back in the oven and bake it as a casserole. I think you need to add some eggs to help it sit. Look that up. But I prefer it just kind of like a mashed sweet potato. I think that's delicious, and I think that will go really well with the barbecue sauce of the meatloaf. So I'm just going to let this all kind of sit and let that butter start to melt. But let's just give it a taste for sweetness. Oh, that's good. That's delicious. So I'm going to call that good. I'm going to put this to the side to have that butter melt and then have this whole thing cool. We'll give it another toss and we'll get packed up with our meatloaves. Look how pretty they are. Now we have a lot of burnt around the edges. Some of that's the sauce, but some of that is, I think, the grease from the hamburger, or from the burger. I'm not really sure, but that'll be fine. So I want to make sure she's cooked in the middle. The only way I know how to do that is you can put a thermometer in here, or you can just cut it open. I don't know. It broke open. I guess I have to take a bite. Let me find a fork, and let's take a bite. It smells so good. Mm-hmm. I think that is delicious. That's good. I do think we maybe need a little bit more salt. So I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt here on the top of them while they cool. Oh my god, that was so good. I put my fork in the sink. Oops. Friends, that's dynamite. Now, I will say I make them sweeter. I like sweet things. If you don't like sweet things, maybe cut back on a little bit of sweetness, or add things that would counteract the sweetness, like peppers or bacon. That is absolutely delicious. So we are gonna let that cool. The glaze I have left over, I'm gonna put in a little jar and take it with me, because as these cool, they'll kind of dry up a little bit. So I'll take that glaze with me, and I can put it on right before I put it in the microwave if my meatloaf is looking a little dry. But now I have a solid lunch together: meatloaf, sweet potatoes, and I guarantee I'm gonna have salad left over, so I can make a little salad to go with this too, and that's gonna be a perfect lunch. Delicious. Now the water is boiling for the white potatoes that we're going to make mashed potatoes to go with our chicken and waffles. So we are an hour and a half in right now, and we have meatloaves made, waffles made, sweet potato casserole made, bacon made, biscuits made. All we need to do yet is make our mashed potatoes and make our eggs for our bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. Oh, and we need to make the gravy. I forgot we need to make the gravy for our chicken and waffles. So I'm going to get my potatoes washed up. And then we're going to get these guys thrown, peels and all, in the water. And I'm going to do 4 eggs for 4 sandwiches. And then on top of these, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. By a little bit, I mean a lot. And then to follow our little bit of spiciness, we have happening. I'm going to take a little bit of my homemade Tabasco. Yeah, I want to make sure this is Tabasco, not my peach hot sauce. I'm just putting a couple drops on each egg and just let that cook. You could add cheese to this meatloaf stew if you want. Crumbled bacon, diced peppers. Oh no, this one fell apart. What a shame. What a shame. Well, I guess I have to eat it. I have never in my life done that. They've always broken or stuck or torn. Maybe I'm getting good at this cooking thing. Now we're going to assemble our bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. Now, because I have a lot of some spice going on, I am going to brush my biscuits with my version of maple syrup. It's corn syrup, and I use it as a syrup replacement. But if you think that's going to make this too sweet for you, then don't do that. I am a person who loves sweetness. I wanted to see if you could smell the pepper jack cheese. I guess pepper jack cheese doesn't smell, does it? I hear a piece broke up. Let's try it. It tastes good. I don't get the pepper jack. I don't get the pepper jack cheese really at all. But what we'll do with that one is just flat. We'll have that one with some jelly, I think. Let's see if I can cut the big monster guy. Cut him in half without him crumbling apart. There we go. Okay. Like I said, I'm just going to pour a little bit of this, just a smidgen of syrup. I've also made like a honey mustard for on egg and cheese biscuits. That's really good. I think this will just add a nice little level of flavor. Okay. Okay. Let's do bacon. 3, 4. Oh no, this one's for me. That's good. Has a wonderful spice. Oh, I did that wrong. Oh my goodness. I just say I think these are going to be absolutely delicious. They have a nice bit of spice from that bacon, and I think from that egg is also going to give it a little bit of spice. I think they're going to be perfect. So I tucked them into this dish, and I'll just take this whole dish with me to work. Okay. We are just plowing ahead. And I got one biscuit left. Almost done. We're now making the gravy for the chicken and waffles. So I just have a little bit of butter in there in this pan, probably about 2 tablespoons. I added about 2 tablespoons of flour, and now I'm going to add my jar of chicken broth. I'm going to let this cook, and this is going to cook up, picking up, and that's all we're going to need for our gravy. I will say that this isn't a seasoned chicken broth, so I'm going to add in some salt and some pepper. And we're going to let that cook. Okay, my last potato is done cooking. The big one just took a little bit longer than the rest of them. While this one was finishing, I peeled the rest of the potatoes. So let me just get this guy, this hot guy, peeled. And when you boil them like this, their skins come off super easily. So I find that you cook them and you peel them kind of all in one time, rather than spending time peeling them. A little bit of milk. A little bit of garlic. And a lot of salt and pepper. Let's go ahead and get this meat mixed together. I think I even have a little bit of sour cream left. Too. Oh, it's moldy. My sour cream went moldy. So I don't have sour cream. That sucks, but it's okay. Okay, I got them nice and mixed. I still have a little bit of butter that needs to melt. But let's give this a taste. That's really good. Perhaps a bit more salt. And then with the chicken, the waffles, and the gravy, that's going to be really good. Okay, let me get a container to put that in. And now the only thing left is to pack up the gravy. And then we still haven't made dinner, but we are going to take a break until we make our dinner. Okay, we are 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and we are done for now. So we started at 1:45, and it is 4 o'clock. And in that time, we have made 16 waffles. Some for the freezer, some for our chicken and waffles. I'm going ahead and getting them packed up now. We have made mashed potatoes to go with those chicken and waffles, and we have the gravy on the stove. I'll take you over and we'll give that a taste test, see how that tastes. We have made our work lunches, meatloaf and a sweet potato casserole. And then we also made bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. So I would say for 2.5 hours, that is a very productive day. So we still need to make our dinner of pork chops and cheddar grits, but it's only 4 o'clock and I'm not quite ready to make that yet or to eat dinner yet. So we're gonna wait a little bit on that. I'm gonna go grab a book and sit on the front porch with my puppy and read for a little bit because it's gorgeous outside. But let's give this gravy a taste. I did add a little bit more flour to help thicken it up. It needs a lot more salt. And that's more salt. Oh my god, it does it every time. It scares the crap out of me. Okay. I did a lot more salt. Sawyer. Let's see now. Much better. Much better. That's delicious. Okay, I'm gonna let the chicken gravy cool, and then I'm gonna go take a break and we'll be back at dinner time. I'm gonna go put all this stuff in the fridge and we'll be back at dinner time for our pork chop and our cheddar grits. Okay, we are back to wrap up this cooking adventure. It is, I think, a little crooked. It is close to, I think, 7 o'clock. I'm not hungry, but I know I gotta eat. I'm not somebody that knows how to skip a meal. No. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our meal, and then we'll probably have leftovers, and that'll be fine. So our meal is gonna be cheddar grits, or cheesy grits, I should say is more accurate. Cheesy grits and a pork chop with a special sauce on it. This is the weirdest scoop to container ratio I've ever seen. In about 1,500 more scoops, I might have a cup of grits. And then to go with our grits and our pork chop, we're going to have a delicious pecan apple salad. So this should be pretty easy and delicious. So to get started, I have a cup of grits, and I do a 3-to-1 ratio with my grits. So 3 cups, and you can do milk, you can do water, you can do chicken broth. I like a creamy grit, so I do chicken, or I do milk, and then I like a nice little spicy grit. So I love to add cowboy candy to my grits. I think that is delicious. Now I'm going to give these a stir and put these on the stove. I may be all about home cooking and health and not putting crap into your body, but I will go down fighting that Velveeta is not processed fake cheese. It is God's gift to all humanity. We all got to have our vices, and this is my vice. Now my sauce is starting to kind of crystallize, caramelize. So I'm adding a little bit of whiskey. And then I added some butter to try to get it to not just crystallize. I would like it to be more saucy. So I'm going to do that, and I think the heat is off. I'm going to get my grits stirred. And then let's cut into one of these pork loins and see if they're not even close to done. Well, they're close to done, but this one needs more time. This smells delicious. Let them sit and let that butter melt. I'm just gonna wait for this to be done. I'm gonna go put together my little salad, and then I'm waiting for this to be done. I tasted these grits. They taste amazing. So good. My pork is done. I have the cutest little salad. That salad kit made life so easy. I'm gonna ladle up a big old thing of grits. And I'm gonna put just like that. I'm excited to dig into this. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's very long but very productive kitchen video. I'll see you guys on the next round. Bye, friends.